I want to say something that is probably going to be a little shocking. So I guess this is your trigger warning. But I post a lot of things, and sometimes I get trolls that want to comment on it. And I think that they might be a little surprised that nothing that they say really bothers me. Well, first off, my nickname is Zen. And, you know, part of Zen is like being unbothered, being unfazed, being placid and unmovable and even nonchalant, right? Having a center of peace and being grounded. But I really think that given what has happened recently in different parts of the world and happens all the time with women's lives being in danger, and some women in different parts of the world taking a stand against that. I think it's time for me to say a whole nother reason why a lot of what the trolls say really just doesn't find its mark. When I was a child, younger than 10, I was assaulted. And this happens to probably 60% of black girls before they're 18. And some of them, and some other races of women, when that happens, and I didn't even mean to say women, girls, teenagers, when that happens, they don't see another day. That happens, and the assailant finishes it by ending their life. So there's a part of me that is grateful to be here just because there's some other girls and teenagers and women who had the same thing happen to them, but their life ended. They didn't get to heal. They didn't get to move forward and go on with their lives. And then when I got married, got pregnant, ended up with twins, I went into labor, and the babies were breech. So I happened to be able to have a C-section. Now, I live in a part of the world where we have pretty good medical care, but still, as a black woman, there is a high mortality rate for just a plain pregnancy, not to mention a breech birth of twins. So there's a part of me that's grateful to have survived that. And then there are other things that have happened. I ended up in that same marriage in some very dicey situations because my ex-husband was physically abusive. And there are some women who, they leave like I did the first time and get brought back like I did the second time and get brought back like I did. The third time was the charm for me. But leaving is often the most dangerous time. And I'm still here, and some other women are not. And so there's at least 3 times, and more that I could think of if I were to go into other things that happened, but at least 3 major times where I could have been taken off this planet, but I'm still here. So that means I have a purpose. And so when I say the things I say them almost from the perspective that being a woman and living the life of a woman, which I'm so grateful for, and I don't in any way want to be anything else, but it's a liability to your life to be a woman. And I'm speaking sometimes from that perspective, from the perspective of knowing that I might not have seen it to 18 because of what someone decided to do to me. That I might not have seen 30 because of the lack of attentiveness that some of us get when we're going through delivery and recovery. And then the entitlement and the patriarchy that leads to an environment where a person who has violent tendencies can seem like the perfect guy, can seem like someone that my parents wanted me to marry, pushed me to marry, because they didn't see the warning signs. I didn't see the warning signs. Nobody around me saw the warning signs until the mask came off about, I'll say 10 months into the marriage. So when I don't react to the trolls, it's because there's a lot more at stake than somebody's disapproval. There's a lot more at stake than someone's harsh comments, because I have a voice that some other women don't have, that went through the same things I went through, but they didn't get to stay here and speak on it. They didn't get to stay here and talk about healing or talk about change or draw a light or awareness to it, because they got taken out, because they lost their lives due to neglect, due to the system that we live in, due to abuse, due to violence, due to all kinds of different things. So I'm thrice blessed. And I don't consider myself a superhero, but if we want to quote Spider-Man, to whom much is given, much is required. With great power comes great responsibility. And so there's a power in even just taking another breath. There's a power in even being able to raise your children because you made it through maternity and delivery and recovery and postpartum. There's a power in being a survivor of domestic violence and rape and sexual assault. There's a power in that. And so when these gentlemen, and sometimes even women, get in my comments and say certain things, to be honest, a lot of times I laugh, because you don't even understand who you're talking to. You don't even understand what I went through to be able to get on this platform and open my mouth. You don't even understand